Hey gang, it feels like forever since we were together. It's only been 2 weeks, but we missed because of the snow. Uh, I realized that I should have had e-learning in place, because then you could have watched some class activities. You would have had a sense of where we were going next. So this is my version of e-learning. You may or may not have a chance to watch it, but we'll find out. One of the ways to think about hearing God's voice is the process of learning how to wait. And one of the places that I go to talk about learning how to wait is Psalm 130. Let me read it for you so you can hear what it sounds like, not just read it off from the text. The writer says, "Out of the depths I cry to you, Lord. Lord, hear my voice. Let your ears be attentive to my cry for mercy. If you, Lord, kept a record of sins, Lord, who could stand? But with you there's forgiveness, so that we can, with reverence, serve you. I wait for the Lord. My whole being waits, and in his word I put my hope. I wait for the Lord more than watchmen wait for the morning. More than watchmen wait for the morning. Israel, put your hope in the Lord. For with the Lord is unfailing love, and with him is full redemption. He himself will redeem Israel from all their sins." Well, okay, 5 things in this psalm that help us think about how to wait, learning to wait. The first thing that the psalmist talks about is crying out. Out of the depths I cry to you, Lord. Lord, hear my voice. There's a need when we're waiting to make sure that we've actually cried out to God. In a sense, it's the you wouldn't expect somebody to know what you wanted unless you told them. And I think that at times we don't wait for God because we don't ask God. So the psalmist is saying, God, I'm crying out. I need your help. The second thing the psalmist does is to confess with confidence. If you, Lord, kept a record of sins, Lord, who could stand? But with you there's forgiveness. There is here the idea of confessing, acknowledging that, yes, there is sin in my life, but also acknowledging that that God can take care of that sin. God will forgive it. God won't keep a record of it. And so I think that there is a place as we're waiting for God to make sure that there's nothing that we have done that gets in the way. So it says, okay, let's cry out to God. Let's confess that we're taken care of, or that we know that God can take care of what's between God and us. The third thing is to wait wholeheartedly. I wait for the Lord, my whole being waits, and in his word I put my hope. The idea that the psalmist is talking about here is that this is not a put something on the back burner, the phrase that we often use, that we ask a question and we go off and do other kinds of stuff, and then say, oh wait, that's right, I forgot. No, the psalmist here is saying, all of me is involved in this waiting process. This is something that matters. It's acknowledgement that sometimes there are things that we're waiting for God for that aren't related to our sin. It's somebody else has caused problems. We're in the middle of not understanding. This is a huge whatever that we're facing. But what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to learn to wait on God. And the psalmist says, I'm waiting with everything I've got. My whole being is attuned to God, waiting for God's response. Okay, the fourth thing is to work while we wait. The psalmist waits for the Lord more than watchmen wait for the morning. Now, part of this we look at, and there's that passion. Have you ever been up in the middle of the night, like guarding something or working third shift? When I was in high school, between my junior and senior year of high school, I worked third shift. And I remember about 4:30 in the morning, looking forward to the dawn, looking forward to being able to go to bed, looking forward to having people around, looking forward to not bearing all of the responsibility myself. Imagine a 19-year-old in Iraq at 4 in the morning on guard duty. That's a watchman who is completely focused on hoping that morning will come. But the other part of that is not only there's that earnestness, but there's also the continuing to work, to go about what's responsible. A watchman waiting for the morning doesn't lay stuff down and say, I'm hoping the morning comes. The watchman is completely focused on the process of waiting, of doing his work. So the psalmist says, I wait for the Lord more than watchmen wait for the morning. I go about my business. I go about my serving God. It's not, God, I'm not going to do anything until you show up. It's, God, I'm continuing to do what you have called me to do. And I am waiting for you earnestly. And then the last thing is the psalmist invites others to wait with this same kind of wholehearted waiting, dependence on God, confidence in God. Israel, put your hope in the Lord, for with the Lord is unfailing love, and with him is full redemption. The psalmist is trying to make it clear that that we can invite other people into this kind of waiting, because it's not the waiting of not knowing what's going to happen. It's a waiting with confidence that God is going to act. God is going to forgive. God's response is going to be a loving response. So it's a psalm where in these 5 things, where we cry out, we confess with confidence, we wait wholeheartedly for God, we go about what God's called us to do while we're waiting, and we invite others into this process of waiting, of depending on God. Praying through this prayer in the course of our lives is going to teach us to depend on God as we cry out to him for help, as we confess that we may have done something, but we know that God will forgive that. And as we put our whole selves into God, I've got nowhere else to turn. I have every confidence that you are going to act, that you are going to rescue, that you are going to accomplish your purposes. So that's Psalm 130. It's one of the songs of ascent, one of the songs that Israel would sing on their pilgrimage to Jerusalem. I hope that was a helpful overview. Cry out, confess with confidence, wait wholeheartedly, work while we're waiting, and invite others to wait. Thanks for watching.